Howdy, readers. I'm Jason. This is Chapter and Verse, and it's Black Friday, which is not a day that I tend to celebrate. Um, Given my political leanings, capitalism is really not my weak spot. So Kelly and I do not shop on Black Friday. However, it is a great occasion for a book tag, and Kelly has created the Black Friday book tag. And so I will link her video below mine. Let's just get right on to the questions here. Let's see, I got dim light here with my notes. Question 1. What book would you stand in line at 2 a.m. in the freezing cold to buy? And my answer to that question, which can probably be guessed by some of you, I would think, is The Mirror and the Light by Hilary Mantel, which is not out yet. It is the sequel to these two books, Wolf Hall and Bring Up the Bodies. I love the first two books so much. But the third book, just it has to appear. And if I had the chance to get a copy of it before anybody else, if I had to stand in line in the cold at 2 a.m., I would do that. So that's my answer to question number 1. Number 2, would you ever fight someone over the last copy of a book? And if so, what book? All right. So if we're talking like the last known copy in existence of a given book, it's possible. Despite my pacifist leanings and depending on how well it looked like the other person could handle themselves in a fight, I could conceive of it. And more than any other book, the one book that I could conceive of myself fighting somebody over would be the last known copy in existence of the original Victoria Lucas bell jar. All right, so this is obviously not the Victoria Lucas edition of the bell jar because I'm not rich, but this is an early American edition of Plath's novel. And for those of you who don't know, it was originally published literally just weeks before she killed herself, maybe days actually before she killed herself. And she published the bell jar under a pen name, under a pseudonym, Victoria Lucas. So there aren't tons of those copies out there, and I would love to have one. But I don't know if I'd be willing to exchange blows with someone, but I would wrestle someone to the ground for the last known copy of the Victoria Lucas bell jar. All right, number 3. What signed first edition would you sacrifice a body part for? And what body part? Yeah, so if I could get a signed first edition of one of the serial installments of Bleak House by Charles Dickens, which, as many of you know, is my number 1 book of all time, I would give my pinky toes for that. It would hurt, but they're not really important. Number 4, what is the best deal you've ever gotten on a book? And some of you can probably guess this too, because I've showed it in another video. And that is this copy of Turtle Island by Gary Snyder, which is, as you know, signed by Gary Snyder. And I got it for, literally like a nickel or a quarter, something like that. It was a coin. It was less than 50 cents. At a charity shop when I was in college. Number 5, given the choice, would you rather spend Black Friday reading or buying books? To which I would say it would depend on the discount being offered and how much money I had in my bank account at the time. Number 6, what is the longest you would wait in line for a signing by your favorite author? So my favorite living author is probably Peter Carey. But, alright, so I already own a lot of Peter Carey signed editions. I got to see him speak this last summer. I did not get to meet him, but if I had the opportunity to get a book signed by Cormac McCarthy, I would wait in line a good 10 or 12 hours for that. I could see myself doing that, yeah. Partly because he's so damn old, and also partly just because he doesn't really do signings. So if he were to do one, I would stand in line as long as it took to get to meet him and get a book signed. And frankly, I'd buy an extra copy and have one inscribed to Steve Donahue as well. Number 7, what booktuber would you most like to wait in that same line with you? So since we'd be in line for Cormac McCarthy, I would want Brian from Bookish to wait in line with me, since we're both big fans. And number 8, if you're the booktuber named in question 7, you're tagged. So that's you, Brian. Yeah, so if you can get to this before the end of Black Friday today, then that would be great. But if not, go ahead and film it and schedule it to go up Black Friday next year. That's the Black Friday book tag created by Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading. And I hope you guys are having a really great holiday weekend if you're here in the States. And if you're not here in the States, well, damn it, I hope you're having a great weekend anyway. Adios.